1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danishka Madhavala and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Development activities of the road stretch from Horagala West to East Horagala has commenced on patronage of Minister Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana. Environmentalist Venerable Pahiyangala Analagrathera says that international appreciation is being received to Minister Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana for his efforts in protecting the lives of wild animals. Officials of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka have been summoned to the Cabinet meeting today. Services Department of Motor Traffic has been digitized under the instructions of Minister of Transportation Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana. Education Ministry issues circular to reduce the weight of school bags. Police Department has planned to open 250 rehabilitation centres this month with the aim of simultaneously rehabilitating 10,000 drug addicts. In world news, Nikki Haley beats Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. for first primary victory. Sports news, James becomes first NBA player to score 40,000 points. Development activities of the road stretch from Horagala West to East Horagala has commenced. This road will be developed under the rehabilitation of 1,500 kilometers of roads from Point Pedro to Devundara. A program is scheduled to have commenced recently as a part of the first phase of the rehabilitation of 1,500 kilometers of roads from Point Pedro to Devundara. Transport Minister Bandula Gulavardhana said the President has allocated sufficient funds for the budget for the rehabilitation of 1,500 kilometers of roads under 3 phases. Accordingly, the first phase of the construction of 500 kilometers of roads commenced recently. The second phase of 500 kilometers will commence on March 16th, and the third phase of the next 500 kilometers will commence on April 2nd. This program will be implemented in every district secretary division in the country. Chairman of all development committees have been specified the road to be reconstructed, he said. Environmentalist Venerable Pahiyangala Analagrathera says that international appreciation is being received to Minister Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana for his efforts in protecting the lives of the wild animals. The construction of the first ever railway underpass to conserve an elephant corridor was commenced recently. Railway underpass was commenced in the Gettigadwala area in Galgamoy yesterday. The project was launched under the auspices of the Minister of Transport, Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana. It is reported that the government has decided to commence the construction of underpasses due to the high number of elephant deaths as a result of colliding with trains. Accordingly, the government is set to identify elephant corridors along railway tracks to build the underpass. Officials of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka have been summoned to the Cabinet meeting today. CBSL officials will be inquired about the process and rationale behind the recent salary hike given to its employees with no notice in responsible parties. Recent media reports reveal that CBSL had increased salaries of its employees by 70%, and the move was heavily criticized by parliamentarians of both the ruling party and the opposition. Issuing a release in this regard, CBSL had explained the latest revision of remuneration of its employees had been approved by the governing body under the Territorial Collective Agreement entering into with the trade unions covering the period 2024-2026. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Services Department of Motor Traffic will be decised from today. This measure has been taken under the instruction of the Minister of Transportation, Dr. Bandula Gulavardhana. The Minister said following the digitization process, the public will not be required to visit the Department of Motor Traffic. He further said a mobile application will be introduced for this purpose. While the public can also book their appointments via Department of Motor Traffic official website, and meanwhile, Commissioner General of Department of Motor Traffic, Nishanta Anuruddha Veerasinghe said it was mandatory for the public to reserve a time and date to obtain the services of the department from today onwards. He further said the reservations can be made by contacting the hotline number 2117-116 or by visiting the website www.dmtappointments.dmt.gov.lk. Ministry of Education has taken measures to minimize textbooks being brought to school apart from the exercise books prepared for students. The measure was taken to reduce the weight of children's school bags. Education Minister said health units have highlighted that school students may face various physical issues, including spinal cord disorders, due to the weight of the school bag. According to the minister, said measures are being taken to print selected textbooks in batches in a bid to reduce the weight of the students' school bags. Secretary of the Ministry of Education has also issued a circular to all principals with the relevant guidelines. It said that a similar program will be formulated for students to keep their textbooks in the classroom safely. Circular also issued directives for instructions to be issued for a group of students to bring one textbook each. That was local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Police Department has planned to open 1050 rehabilitation centres this month with the aim of simultaneously rehabilitating 10,000 drug addicts. Under this program, which is planned to be implemented with the support of the Mahasangha and Catholics, Islamic and Hindu priests, centres will be established to house 50 persons addicted to narcotic drugs at a centre. Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Senakun, speaking to journalists in Candice, said the purpose of the new program is to help young people addicted to drugs recover from the addiction through a practical and scientific program prepared with the support of the Dangerous Drug Control Board. RGP said there are 100,000 people in the country who are addicted to all kinds of drugs, but the capacity to rehabilitate them annually is about 4,700, emphasized that it is not at all reasonable. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, Department of Meteorology has issued heat index advisory for 14 districts. It said temperature felt on the human body is expected to increase up to caution level at some places in the northwestern, western, southern, Sabaragamuwa, eastern provinces and in the Matara districts. That came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Russia says it has intercepted 38 Ukrainian drones attacking Crimea. Nikki Haley beats Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. for first primary victory. It agrees to October rain lyrics change in Eurovision 2024. A series of explosions have rocked Crimea after a reported Ukrainian drone attack. Video posted online shows the blast allegedly near the fuel depot in southeastern city of Feodosia. Russian officials say 38 drones had been shot down. Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea with Russia, was temporarily closed. Attack comes as Ukraine continues to urge allies to boost arms supplies. Russian troops have recently made gains in Ukraine as Kyiv struggles to sustain its forces with Western-made arms. Moscow took control last month of the key eastern town of Dvika. However, according to British military intelligence, this has come at a high cost. In its latest update, it said February has been the deadliest for Russians since the start of the full-scale invasion on the 20th of February 2022, with 983 killed and wounded per day. Nikki Haley has defeated Donald Trump in the Republican primary in Washington, D.C., which is the first victory over the former president in the 2024 campaign to become the Republican presidential candidate. She lost in South Carolina, her home state, but she is the first woman to win a Republican primary in U.S. history. Mr. Trump, however, has a huge lead over Ms. Haley and is likely to face Joe Biden in the November election. Haley, a former U.S. ambassador to the UN, won 62.9% of the vote to Mr. Trump's 33.2%. It has been seen large as symbolic win as the capital is a heavily Democrat-leading jurisdiction with only about 20,000 registered Republicans in the city. Local party officials say 235 Republicans participated in the primary, the Washington Post reported. Israel public broadcaster has requested changes the lyrics of a song submitted for this year's Eurovision Song Contest. Organizers barred it last week for breaking rules and political neutrality. Israel broadcaster Khan had pledged not to alter the lyrics on October rain, an apparent reference to Hamas' attack on Israel on the 7th of October. But Israel President Isaac Herzog called for necessary adjustments to ensure Israel can enter the show. Israel has won the Eurovision Song Contest 4 times before. This year's event will be held in Sweden, who won last year's contest. in May. Khan is in the process of choosing its entry, with October Rain the leading submission and Dance Forever is second place. Back to the headlines of the world news. Russia says it intercepted 38 Ukrainian drones attacking Crimea. Nikki Haley beats Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. for the primary victory. Israel agrees to October Rain lyrics change in Eurovision 2024. That was World News.
Development News.
Minister of Education Susil Premajanta said that a pilot project enabling students above grade 8 to study AI technology, along with the ICT subject, will be launched in 20 selected schools on March 19th. He said, current teachers are being trained to teach the AIT subject, which will be introduced to schools island-wide next year. Mr. stated this during a program held at the Education Ministry yesterday. Further explaining the possible future reforms in the education sector, he said the number of subjects on the GCE O-level examination will be reduced to 7, while those students to industrial and environmental skills will be evaluated separately.